Welcome, and thank you for joining for another whiskey review. Today, we're going to take a look at the Foregate Kelvin Collaboration number 5. Dustin, did I say that right?
Yes, sir.
Nice. Dustin, we were in Louisville not too long ago with the guys at Foregate. Cool guys.
Absolutely.
We really tied one on.
Cool whiskey.
Cool whiskey.
Fun night.
Yeah, fun night. We had this one here. Did you buy that one there?
I bought it. Yeah, bought it there. Yeah.
This is one of the ones we brought back from Louisville.
Yeah. Built for a couple months now. I just did a couple samples out of that one, so I'm exporting back to the community.
Our buddy Jason, he did a comparison from not too long ago, didn't he? What the best one was?
Probably did. Yeah. I actually did that. I did that myself after I first got this. I poured all 5 of them.
All right.
The end result was I felt good.
End result was I won. All right, buddy. This one comes in at 58.5% ABV or 117 proof. This is bottle number 4916, batch 28.
This is a big release for them. This is probably, I think, the biggest Kelvin collab they've done in terms of bottle count. So this one is definitely one that I think is still obtainable, which is a difficult thing with these Foregates.
Yeah, cool guys. Guys we always root for. I like plenty of their whiskeys. Kind of like New Riff. I mean, they're people we really root for. We've enjoyed their stuff from the beginning, and for what we know of the people, good solid guys.
This is a blend of 3 different Kentucky Bourbons. I don't know exactly what 3 they are, but I've got somewhat of a guess. And I want to say you're looking at like 7 to 9 years old, 6 to 9. So a little on the younger side from some of the other Kelvin collabs, but they used, let me just double check that I get this right here, Mike. Mm-hmm. But this uses, this is why I needed to hear this. So it's finished in Australian Mariposa sherry. And I'm not even going to try to say it, but dark rum casks. So getting fancy with the blending, which is really what Foregate's all about.
Yeah. That's part of the value they bring is, they bring different whiskeys together and make them better than the sum of their parts. You know what I mean?
Yeah. When somebody first told me the bourbons they were using in some of these things, I kind of balked at the $200 price point. Mm. But when you start doing the finishing they're doing, you really can seriously add value. And that's what they've done here.
Meeting these guys down in Louisville, it was really interesting to just hear them talk. And I've told a few people I can't believe how much of the conversations revolved around wood and trees, mm-hmm. and where they're getting their next trees and this type of wood and that type of wood and Mizunara wood and Japanese wood and wood from this forest. I mean, they're really obsessed, mm-hmm. with wood, casking, things of that nature. You can tell those guys have a super passion for it, and that's exactly who I want making my whiskey.
Oh yeah, I mean, Bob's great, but Bill, he's been in the industry from what I understand for a while, not necessarily making it, but huge whiskey lovers, both of them.
Cool guys.
And they know how to blend, man. I'm telling you.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful color, by the way.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to this whiskey, Dustin. Really sweet. Super sweet caramel. Caramel and toffee.
It just, it keeps changing on me, Mike. That's the beauty of what they've done with the casks. I'm getting your vanilla toffee, but then I'm getting a little bit of like tropical fruit, a little bit of funk, maybe from the rum cask. I don't know.
I was getting a funky rum note to it.
But then again, I kind of got that note on the Mizunara cask. Could just be the bourbon they used.
We don't get great rums around here. But I knew worked from a couple guys from the Dominican. They do the kind of a rum club. Mm-hmm. I went a couple times. Man, rums can get really good with some proper aging on them.
Oh yeah,
and they get incredibly sweet.
And rums can be just such a variety of funk and weird. Yeah.
Well, yeah, they do get funky as well, but specifically when they get kind of what I'm getting, sort of this brown sugar sweetness in mm-hmm. here, that's very reminiscent of some high-end rums, at least the few that I've had.
There is a really nice kind of dusty oak, and then there's kind of a funky, almost over-oaked kind of note that kicks in there, a little bit nutty though. It's kind of giving me like good and bad notes here. It's definitely... It's speaking to me on the blend of particularly 2 different Kentucky bourbons. I'm thinking like a Heaven Hill.
There's something nutty here.
That's giving me a note that I don't really enjoy here, like a young Heaven Hill.
Mm-hmm.
But then I'm getting nice stuff that's making me think more of like your, dare I say, maybe like a Four Roses, maybe a Barton, maybe... Again, I don't know what the 3 bourbons are, but I know that I'm getting like very distinct notes, and Heaven Hill's definitely coming through in this.
There's a subtle nuttiness to this that I don't quite have my finger on yet. I've only had this one other time. It's a lot of sweetness. You know what I mean? So even for a bourbon, it's a lot of sweetness. So the nuttiness is really getting washed out. But there is some, I don't want to say Jim Beam nut. It isn't quite that. But there is some far more subtle.
To me, it makes me think that whatever the smallest amount of bourbon that's in there, it's the nutty bourbon.
I agree.
And like it's a very small amount, but it's just enough where you just can't hide it.
Yeah, this is like putting 3% or 6% of some type of peated whiskey like Kalila or something in a
and it just jumps out.
Scotch, and it's just woo. You knew it's there. You know it's there. Like it's such a strong smell that you can't hide it, but it's insubstantial enough that you know it wasn't a significant part of the recipe.
I love the initial upfront sweetness, and again, I can't tell if that's like they've got a really nice, sweet but not too fruity bourbon that's doing that, or if it's the rum. The sherry notes are kind of subdued here. On the nose, the sherry doesn't really sing to me.
It's a good amount of sweetness, man. I agree, though. There's something about the funkiness with the rum that's sort of not letting the sherry notes quite get to the Scotch level of sweetness that I would expect when I hear the word sherry. And I know it's probably a solid sherry cask.
Oh, man. But tell you what, on the palate, it is a beautiful medley of oak. They are bringing us some notes that are starting to get into old bourbon, but not quite. Like legendary old bourbon, but a few notes come in there. You're getting a little mixture of definitely some sherry cask is in here. Could have been a Dunnage Warehouse cask even, I don't know. Older wood note. There's a spicy oak note here. Yeah, they've done a really cool job of just blending different oak notes in this. And this thing has been changing like a chameleon every time I've gone back to it. It's a very active whiskey. I think the aromatics really change with these finished bourbons as they age.
Ooh, spicier than I thought.
Yep.
Spicy oak. A lot spicier than I assumed it would be. I got a little spice on the palate, not this much though. You're right. Good amount of oak in this.
Are you seeing how it's like transitioning flavors?
Yeah. So, at first I was just like, oh, it's coming off pretty brown sugar sweetness. I'm like, not really. It's kind of more of a subtle toffee sweetness. But you're right, like the sweetness keeps jumping around on it. Like the sweetness and the oak just keep dancing.
Yeah. Yeah, the blending, they really created something that, like this is obviously a blend when I'm tasting it. Sometimes I think there's an art to not making it taste like a blend. But sometimes it's kind of fun to have that, like where it just kind of dances around and mixes it up.
It's funny, on the finish, it's drying when you inhale. But when you exhale, it's kind of fruit juicy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's probably where the sherry cask is coming in just a little bit. The rum is kind of giving it a little bit of funkiness to it, I think. But it's probably adding some sweetness.
It's got to add some sweetness.
But those bourbons, like the mixing of different bourbons has really just kind of created they're fighting with each other, but it's a fun fight. It's not like when I blend it and I tried putting 3 different bourbons together and it just tastes like crap.
Yeah, whenever anybody mentions like on the channel, you guys ever do an Infinity Bottle? I'm like, well, I've tried.
I've got one.
It turns out I'm not a master blender.
I will bring that Infinity Bottle at some point. We'll review my Infinity Bottle, Mike.
Master drinker, maybe, Dustin. Not a master blender.
I've definitely created an interesting blend.
We all need to play our roles.
Yeah. Oh, man. I just got Oreo cookies. What the heck was that?
I was about to say. I was about to say. I was like, it's almost like a cross between. It's almost like a spicy Oreo blizzard. I said it's almost like a spicy Oreo blizzard and a cinnamon spice cake. Like
I was just getting ready to
funky.
I was just getting ready to say I actually got Oreo, and then I went back and I got a cinnamon bun. I was like, what is this?
Yeah, maybe that you put a cinnamon roll. You put like a cinnamon roll in an Oreo milkshake, which sounds delicious.
I just got a distinct cinnamon stick.
You blend that up and you put it in a big 32-ounce cup, which I have.
Cinnamon and a little bit of rice spice is definitely coming out now.
Rice spice for sure. It borders on mint.
I'm getting vanilla, like rich vanilla. I mean, like vanilla icing. I mean, this is almost getting into Irish vanilla.
Dare I say candy cigarettes?
Possible, yeah.
Not quite the ashy note to that, but the candy cigarette isn't ashy. It's candy cigarette. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's not quite as like
Chalky vanilla. That's the candy cigarette to me. You know what I'm saying?
no, exactly. That's exactly what it is.
It's chalky vanilla.
Wow, water really did a nice little mix up here.
Way more interesting with water on the nose.
Yeah, it's gotten rid of that kind of that nutty note that I didn't really enjoy.
I didn't mind the nutty note. I think it's still here a little bit on the end.
I said I didn't enjoy it. I'm not saying it was bad. I just didn't enjoy it. And you're right, it's still here, but now it's much more enjoyable because I think the sweetness has come up, the rum's coming out.
Yeah, kind of that sickly vanilla from rum. I really get now.
Chocolatey notes from the sherry are starting to come out too.
I think that's what makes it even more funky. I think the vanilla note. I think it's a funky vanilla from the rum, but the sherry kind of gives it a little bit of, maybe a little bit of cocoa or milk chocolate, however you want to say it.
Yeah, it's really changing it up here.
It's dancing, Dustin. Mm-hmm. Even more so with water than neat, and it was dancing neat.
Still very drying. Ooh, little Kentucky hug going on here. Ooh.
I still say you get some type of a nutshell on that, even with water.
Yeah, definitely.
The spice is turned down though with water, which I don't know if I like or not. I kind of liked how spicy it was.
Yeah, I can go either way on the palate. Rich.
It is
Full.
now there is a rye mint coming out.
Yeah, the rye's coming through more.
Especially if you've got the top of the glass with your nose, very top.
Yeah, I mean, it's still coming off a little on the younger side on the bourbon than I prefer. I'm trying to decide if that's a negative here, though, because I think it plays well with the rum cask. And whatever the sherry's doing here, I think the casking's playing well with a little bit of youth in here. It's 3 Kentucky bourbons, so,
something's high rye here for sure.
Yeah, so maybe they've got like Four Roses, like one of the higher rye ones there, maybe.
I don't think it's Four Roses, but I haven't had enough to really know.
I'm trying to think who else does a higher rye that could be in here, because I mean...
It's more of a light powder note with Four Roses. I'm just not getting here.
Well, I mean, Four Roses has 2 different rye mash bills that are high rye, and they also have all the different yeast strains and stuff. I mean, they're challenging to.
They are. We should play more with those once I get better at bourbons.
We definitely need to do more Four Roses, even though nobody watches. We're going to do it anyway.
All right, Dustin. Where are you as far as the whiskey score on this one? I'll go first again.
Okay.
So I've had a couple of these. I've had 1 and 2. 1, 2, and 5, I want to say.
We've definitely had 3. We reviewed 3.
Oh, shit.
That was the
right.
PX one.
You're right. There was.
We haven't done 4.
Yes. So I think I like 2 better. 2 and 1 better.
3 and 2 are probably my 2 favorites.
Maybe it was 3 and 2 and not 2 and 1.
And one's 11-year Barton. I'm pretty sure it's pretty nice.
So this is just a tick less than some of those other ones to me. So I'm going to call it an 86 out of 100. My enjoyment level is probably slightly higher than that because of how sweet this is. But as far as an overall whiskey score, I'm at 86 out of 100. How about you?
Yeah. This is my least favorite of the Kelvin. So I did all 5 side by side. This one I did pick last. Now that said, it has continued to open up since then. It's maybe gotten better, but I think it's going to stay probably number 5, which is fine. The Kelvin series has been excellent whiskey. And I'm probably an 87. I was thinking about 86, but I enjoy the play that it's got going on with the different oak notes and how that worked. That really worked for me, but the finish is kind of a little lacking, like comparatively to when you're getting higher scores. I love the sweetness up front. I like the mid palate. I like the viscosity. It's a little drying, which is hitting me a little off, and then the finish doesn't really do much for me. And I think that's again a sign that it's not old enough bourbon to really have that long finish. I think they blended something beautifully here, but it's not disappointing, but it's a little off from being like, their best work.
Yeah, I feel like compared to the other ones, they had less to work with.
Could be. I mean, it's getting hard to source quality aged bourbon, man.
Yeah, that would be, maybe, that would, who knows, that's my guess. But anyway, those are our thoughts on the whiskey. If you guys had a chance to try this 5th batch or this 5th release, let us know what you guys think. Until next time, Dustin, what do we wish the folks?
Happy collaborative drinking.
We'll see you then.